Look, I think Michael Cohen is someone who a lot of people have, quite frankly, see red flags in. Look, this is someone who years ago said he would take a bullet for former President Trump, then flipped on him, and has since been one of Trump's most vocal critics in the media, on social media. In fact, it was interesting. Trump's lead defense attorney began the cross-examination of Michael Cohen, talking about how Michael Cohen had called the defense attorney, out on TikTok. And Michael Cohen said, sounds like something I would say. So, Michael Cohen is someone definitely with a colorful, checkered past. A lot of legal experts say that it could be, not that difficult to discredit him to the jury. But of course, we'll have to see. We've seen other, major pieces of testimony, not only from Cohen during this trial, but also from Stormy Daniels herself. So we'll see how the jury rules.
Were there any other key takeaways for you from yesterday's testimony from Cohen?
I think for the most part from Cohen, the biggest key takeaway was the defense cross-examination. This was what everyone was looking for, because obviously the prosecution was going to use Cohen to bolster their case. There wasn't anything major there, no major surprises. But with the defense trying to discredit Cohen and paint him as someone who is essentially trying to profit off of his criticism of Trump, his knowledge of Trump and the Trump organization, that was interesting. So, but at the end of the day, this signals that the case is really starting to wrap up. So we could be weeks away from a verdict. It's the only one of Trump's 4 criminal trials that is guaranteed to wrap up before the election.
Yeah. Trump, of course, has been gagged. He doesn't always stick to that. But the Speaker, Mike Johnson, came out to speak for him instead. Now, was that a risk for him to sort of so publicly tag himself to Donald Trump, who is, in this rather compromising case?
Well, it wasn't only Mike Johnson. We saw 2 Republican members of Congress, including one, Congressman Byron Donalds from New York. He is someone who's considered a vice presidential contender. You also saw North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, businessman Vivek Ramaswamy. Those 2 were Trump's former rivals in the Republican primary. Now they are set to be vice presidential contenders. So if you're a Republican figure and you want to stay relevant and, be accepted in the party, this is how you do it. Going out and attacking Trump. But, in terms of whether it's risky for them, I don't think it particularly is. I mean, Mike Johnson would definitely be open to some criticism by going to New York instead of, staying in the House of Representatives while it's in session. But, I think a lot of Americans are quite frankly fatigued by this trial, fatigued by Trump's legal issues, and they're not paying as much attention as you might think.
Yeah. Now, despite threats last week to stop shipments of arms to Israel, that hasn't happened. The US sending off, I think, nearly $1 billion of arms to Israel in their own ongoing conflict in Gaza.
Yeah, look, I mean, Biden is under quite a bit of pressure right now. President Biden under pressure from, members of his own party, Democrats as well as Republicans, to continue, supporting Israel. And this seemed to be a bit of a reversal from Biden. It seemed like last week was a bit of a warning sign with some strong language towards Benjamin Netanyahu in the case that he were to invade Rafah. It seems like that military operation on the ground is ongoing, but no signs of the U.S. slowing down support. I think a lot of this has to do with the political situation that Biden is facing here at home. He has Democrats and Republicans who are pushing him to be as vocally supportive of Israel as possible. But there is a portion of the Democratic Party, particularly among young voters, Arab American voters in swing states like Michigan, that are unhappy with his handling of supporting Israel in the war in Gaza. So he's walking a fine line here.
Yeah, indeed. Tell us what he's aiming to do. He's hit China and some of their big imports like electric vehicles with tariffs, a range of tariffs. What's behind the move, and is it going to really make a big impact?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is about Biden being tough on China and trying to push back on Chinese innovation, really entering the U.S. market and really pushing for more made in America products. We know that President Biden has been traveling much of the country, going to semiconductor plants, for example, chip manufacturers, trying to bolster this made in the USA brand as we see tensions between Washington and Beijing really continue to rise. So, this is about that. But also going back to domestic politics here in the United States, look, he is very much trying to appeal to voters in swing states like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, for example, that are big manufacturing and agricultural centers. And they are pushing back very much, or voters in those states are pushing back against Chinese influence and worried about Chinese influence in the U.S. market. So this is inherently political as well.
Yeah. Good as always to see you, Julia. Thanks so much.
Thank you.